You know, they feel like they're sincere and appreciate the planning commission does. We've kept them from having to deal with problems because we catch it over here.
So, but I didn't really have.
What are you going to do? Where are you going to serve? Because you have to use what you have.
Then I tried on a blog.
Do the ball.
I'd like to welcome everyone to this October the 16th, 2024 meeting of the City of Charleston Planning Commission. My name is Charlie Harris. I'm the chairman of the commission. I'm joined by commission members. To my left, Bart Jackson, Donna Jacobs, Sunday Memphis, Erica Harrison, and Lieutenant Joyce. These folks are volunteers reported by Charleston City Council, and you know me, join me in thanking them for their work on behalf of our city. The way the meeting will work today is I'll read an item from the agenda into the record. Then we'll hear from staff and any suggestions they have or recommendations. Then we'll hear from the applicant. And we'll hear from anyone that supports an application, anyone who may be opposed to an application. So we'll give that kind of a chance to respond back to any concerns that were brought up. After that, close the public aspect of the meeting. Then commission members will discuss, make motions, and vote on. Ask if you have a cell phone, please, which I just did, turn it off and put it on silent. If you come up to speak tonight, come up to the podium. Tell us who you are, your address, and if you're representing someone. Mr. Morgan, would you introduce any staff?
Sure. I'm Christopher Morgan, planning manager here at the City of Charleston. Also with us tonight from a city side is Amanda Cox, our planner, who's assigned to the Planning Commission. We also have our clerk, Philip Clapper, Molly Connor, our annexation planner, and then Magali Creech is here from our legal department to help with any questions on the PUD change that's coming up. And then Eric Coleman is here, our West Ashley coordinator, to talk a little bit about the ordinance.
Great, thank you, Mr. Any changes to the agenda for what we have? Thank you. First item on the agenda, the minutes. Email now.
Mr. Chairman, I think we had several email exchanges about correcting them. I believe the details got corrected on the front end about making the motion to change the agenda and everything. Those were the only things I saw that worked back.
Make a motion with those corrections.
Yes, motion with those corrections.
Great. Is there a second to the motion?
I'll second this.
Great. Ms. Lempsis, motion by Ms. Jacobs, second by Ms. Lempsis. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Great. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 6 in favor, none opposed. Next item on the agenda is rezonings. Number 1, Angel Oak Preserve, southeastern quadrant of the intersection SC 17 Maybank Highway and Bohicket Road, Johns Island, TMS number 279-0000665, 279-0000142, 279-0000248, and 279-0000677. A couple more numbers: 279-0006680, 279-0000679. 279-0000309. It's Council District 3. It's approximately 52 acres. They request rezoning from Plan Unit Development PUD to Conservation Diverse Residential Limited Business. Ms. Morgan.
Okay. And this is a little bit of an unusual one because we're essentially retiring a PUD, shall we say, in exchange for more conventional zoning categories, because the uses that the PUD was talking about for the site have really changed with some acquisition of land a number of years ago now for conservation and a public park, and some of the changes on the Sea Island Comprehensive Healthcare site. But let's take a look at it first if you all are familiar with it. This is here the intersection of Maybank Highway and Bohicket Road. It backs up to Angel Oak Lane or Angel Oak Road, excuse me, to the south. At present, the city has this parcel that is where the actual Angel Oak is, and it's a small 1 acre or so parcel that has the Angel Oak on it and our small park at present. And then there are plans to enlarge the park, and I'll show that in a minute. But other property owners include the Low Country Land Trust, which is also listed, I believe, as the Angel Oak Park LLC, and their representative can give you a little bit more about how all that came about and what their plans are for here. And the city will retain some land here that will also be part of that park. And then Sea Island Comprehensive Health Care is over here. If you all can see, you can see my cursor. With their facilities that have medical offices and I believe some nursing care that still happens there. And then the now under construction Esau Jenkins affordable housing that's in this location that is part of the Sea Island property, but is going to be developed for that affordable housing. So the proposal for the change is to take away the PUD. This PUD was originally set up for a shopping center that was planned here, I think almost 20 years ago on the site. It was a way for Sea Island Healthcare to make some money off the land so they could keep their operation going here. That shopping center obviously never materialized. The PUD was later modified so you could have apartment complex that was going to have some degree of proximity to the Angel Oak, and there were issues with that and with permitting for the wetlands. And ultimately, the Low Country Land Trust was able to acquire the land in partnership with other entities and have this kind of grand park idea created instead. And Sea Island has retained their original parcels here and the one that has the housing on it. So really the need for the PUD is no longer there, and our conventional zoning districts make more sense. And I'll go into another slide that shows you that. This is just an aerial, giving you a sense of, again, what's on the ground at present. And then this is the ownership here patterns. The number ones, these parcels here are the Low Country Land Trust, and then number two is the city here, and the current one that has the park here. And then all the threes are Sea Island Comprehensive Health Care, which are all these parcels here. And these would all be changed as per the PUD. This is how they would be changed by virtue of the end of the PUD, excuse me. This is how the PUD would be divided up. The vast majority of it would become this conservation zoning here, which is, you know, almost no residential density. It's like 1 unit every acre and a half. So for a city like Charleston, that's very, very low density. Then you would have limited business, which allows all the activities that Sea Island Comprehensive Health Care has in this location here. And then DR2, which fits the density of the Esau Jenkins apartments on this site, almost to the T. So that's a very fortunate thing that fits within that category. This is an overall plan for the park site. You also see the Sea Island buildings here, and then this is the Esau Jenkins site. I'll let the land trust in the future during this discussion talk a little bit about this layout here. But you see that clearly it is going to be a park area, so you know, different from what was originally envisioned in the PUD, and part of the reason for getting rid of PUD. This is just a comparison of the different districts here between the you know what LV allows, what PR2 would allow. The Esau Jenkins facility is 72 elderly affordable units, and then of course the Sea Island Healthcare facilities and the Angel Oak Park are all things that will be on the site here. I'm going to skip this. This is from our comprehensive plan showing the site, and the areas that would be the limited business are in what we call our city centers. So that's in line with our comprehensive plan. The areas that would be the park are in our low impact and conserved or natural wetland. So again, that's very much in line with our comprehensive plan. So this change actually brings the zoning on the site much more in line with our comprehensive plan. So we're recommending approval on this. We've been working with the Low Country Land Trust and their design team for a little bit on this, and are happy to bring it to you, and think it will simplify things and make for a much more appropriate zoning for these parcels here.
Okay, I know the city's asking on this. Does anyone else from the city like to speak on this, or?
If you all have questions, Magali has been advising us on this as well. If you all have any questions for her.
Any questions? And so if the city's applicant would like to ask, is anybody in favor of the application? Just for the record, we did get one written comment from the Preservation Society that they support this. Does anyone like to speak in favor of this? Would anyone like to speak in opposition to this? At a close.
I'll move for approval, so it's delayed. Oh, I'm sorry. Does somebody have a,
There's a move for approval.
oh, yeah, I'll move for approval. Because it's nice to see a plan go to that. I mean, I had heartburn over this 20 years ago, and so this is wonderful. So I'll like to move for approval.
I'll second it, but I do have a question. The city owns the park right now, but there seems to be a partial that we're going to expand what the city owns within this, or is that part of still with the land trust? Or did I misunderstand something?
Well, the city, the square parcel that the city owns, that, to my knowledge, is not expanding.
But you have two.
We have other land that we got through this whole deal that was put together with the land trust. So our land includes this wraparound piece here. And of course, the original park here. So where the twos are, these are city land.
City land, but is there any kind of interaction with the land trust about?
Yes. Can the land trust
Yeah,
represent?
go ahead, please.
Yeah.
Any information? Go ahead, come on up. Thank you. Tell us who you are.
I just want to hear the land trust perspective,
Fine.
Hi, my name is Samantha Siegel. I live at 507 Stinson Drive, Charleston. And I am the Angel Oak Preserve Director at the Low Country Land Trust. The park and the preserve will be knit together and run as one property. We've been working very closely with the city, with Jason Kronsberg, on operations and maintenance of the future preserve. So we're working on a memorandum of understanding that will outline exactly who is responsible for what, but it will be run as one comprehensive property with about 2 miles of walking trails, a lot of cultural and historic interpretation, a nature play area for children with no plastic playground equipment, just nature play, and an outdoor classroom. So yeah, any other questions? I'm happy.
no, I just want to hear the land
Thank
trust.
you. Guys, tell me your name again.
Samantha Siegel.
Thank you, Ms. Siegel, and thank you for your work as well.
Yeah,
Very important.
I couldn't be happier to see this happen.
I'm a long-leaf member of the land trust. That's why I'm asking.
Thank you. If there's no other questions or comments, there's a motion by Ms. Lempsis, second by Ms. Jacobs. All in favor of the motion to approve this, signify by saying aye. Anyone in opposition? That's 6 in favor, none opposed. Next, thank you all. Well, the next item on our agenda is ordinance amendment. Request approval to amend Article 2, Land Use Regulations, Part 11, Design Review, District, Section 54268, designation of Design Review District, Review Authority, Scope of Authority, and exemptions. Come on, tell us. We know who you are, but tell us for the record.
And I'll just do a.
Yeah, go ahead. I'm
little
sorry.
background here. So this is in line with lots of our West Ashley revitalization efforts, and particularly in reference to the work that has recently been done at the Ashley Landing and Sumar sites, where you all saw, of course, recently the development agreement that outlined a similar scope of authority change with the design review board for that site. And so council members were very interested in the entire Sam Rittenberg corridor that is in our tax increment finance district, or TIF district, having a similar allowance, which, you know, the feeling is that that will help facilitate and accelerate new development in that corridor, just like it has at the Ashley Landing site. And then Eric can tell you how it's going to work and some more background on it. Yes, sir.
Yes, so Eric Coleman, West Ashley Coordinator with the City of Charleston. Christopher, can you thank the
Ms. Jacobs is keeping you busy over there, isn't she?
yes, sir. Going to the next one. So that's what Christopher stated is exactly right. So this is an ordinance amendment that is going to be applied only to the West Ashley redevelopment TIF district. It runs down Sam Rittenberg from Orange Grove Road to Savannah Highway. It also does pick up a few parcels over on Ashley Town Center Drive and Savage Road. What it seeks to do is update DRB oversight to shift it from a board level review to the staff level in hopes of streamlining the permitting process and really trying to help fit it into the tight timeframes that we see for redevelopment. The shift will also include the demolition review as well as the design review to staff only. So here's a map of the TIF district. You can see that it's the majority of Sam Rickenberg. It actually does leave a few of the parcels out. But for the most part, it runs down Sam Rickenberg and picks up most of the commercial parcels. And that would also include the rest of Citadel Mall that is not currently under a planned unit development that has its own architectural keyboard. So the areas like Dick's Sporting Goods and the theater would also be included in this. And what we used as a precedent in order to create this is the Special Job Center / Special Industrial Center that is mentioned in the Century 5 plan. Go on to the next one. So under the current scope of authority, we already have the job center districts and industrial districts that are called out in the Century 5 plan as being design reviewed only at the staff level. Seeing that, we just updated the language to a number 12, since there's 11 items already under the scope of authority. Number 12 will state developments and demolitions located within the designated, within the area, it should say, designated as the West Ashley Redevelopment Tax Increment Finance District shall only require approval by administrative officer. And I do know that Ms. Jacobs has already asked me about the administrative officer portion. Up above the when it's first describing scope of authority, it does state that the everything within the design review overlay must go either to the design review board or the administrative officer. So that would be read as coming back to the administrative officer of the design. Go on to the next one. So one thing I wanted to stress to you guys is that this does not pull it out from any type of review at all. It's not that these are going to be rubber stamped. They still have to go through all 3 levels of review: concept, preliminary, and final. They also do have to still meet the building features and appearance, site design, utility service, everything that's under that review currently by the board is reviewed just at staff level. So that would be done by David Meeks currently, as well as BD Wortham Gavin, right? Yeah. So between the 2 of them, our city architect and DRB administrator, they would look over and make any of the suggested alterations and corrections. Also baked into the DRB ordinance already is that if there is any dispute between staff decision and the applicant, they can apply to the design review board itself. And that is already baked into the ordinance. That's the update.
I do have one question. So granted, an applicant can appeal, but the public notice process, so even though it's done at staff level, how does the public can appeal a staff decision? So, but how's the
reviews
information?
At every DRB meeting, will provide the board a list of staff level reviews that he has done and the outcomes from it. So it would be after that that the public would be able to see what have been the staff review items and was the decision rendered on them. So these are not going to be publicly posted. There won't be a sign out front saying staff level review. These just get submitted through our board service and through the permit center.
I misunderstood. Are you suggesting that the public could appeal the decision of?
Yes, ma'am.
I mean, it is a part of the process. I mean, the process.
Any aggrieved party is how it's described in the ordinance. So that could be a general public item.
Okay, well, most, the guidelines will be well written and well defined so that it's not arbitrary in any way, shape, or form when it
Already.
So they would stand with the current design guidelines that are there, which do capture, buildings have to be in context to the area, materials have to be of high
Pretty
grade.
detailed.
Well, they are, but I've seen some arbitrary, somebody may not be at one DRB meeting and then they may be there the next one and they'll change what they just changed the week
This
before.
won't happen.
And
This won't happen here.
That's kind of the process that we're hoping to pull out
Yeah.
these parcels from.
Okay.
So that way there is just a more clear line of communication between one decision maker and the applicant.
Thank you.
Then I did have one other question. So this mainly is related to this particular project, right? And so there, I mean, in the fact that it has a TIF involved. So with other projects, are we gonna be consistent in allowing more staff review for this process? Or is this just kind of, this is a perfect example of kind of that question of slippery slope?
So this is where we are currently leaving it at. In addition to this, this is, if you want to look at it, this may be a first step, second step through the zoning rewrite. We're also researching, doing form-based code that would then also be at staff level in certain areas. But this is, we've gotten good products out of the staff level review through the special job center district. So we're confident that we will continue to get that same level of quality that West Ashley needs through doing this.
And this area is, besides being in the, is under form-based code. It's one of the two that they're looking for form-based code. So this would already get another level and pulling it to staff review. It would have that form-based code underlayment when we redo the zoning code. And as Councilman Appel said a few nights ago, we need to do this experiment, and this corridor it's a modern corridor. So it's ripe for redevelopment, but the Sam Rittenberg corridor, I'm gonna guess that nothing on the commercial part of the corridor is much older than 55, because that's when the North Bridge was built, and this when this highway was done. But it's a dated 50, and it needs to come up to standards. So this is a really good place to begin looking at how this might function as opposed to other parts of West Ashley or other areas under design review, because it's kind of a modern area. It needs some love, and this would be a way to encourage redevelopment in there to get it, pull it out of the process.
Any other questions? Either Mr. Morgan or? No. Thank you. Would anyone like the public, it's a big crowd, like to be heard on this? Not close the public aspect.
I move for approval.
Jacob, you for approval.
I'll second.
Second. Ms. Joyce.
So basically, nothing has changed since you and I went to high school there, Charlie. Everything looks the same while you and I were in high school. That's what he's saying, nothing, and Donna saying, nothing has changed, the road's the same, the buildings are almost the same.
I would like to add one
Those people are too
comment.
old, me anyway.
I would like to add
Not
one
Ms.
comment
Levinson,
to my
me.
mission is that the whole effort here is to make sure that we can move development along and we don't snag people down and just unnecessarily arbitrary public. I don't like it. And sometimes they don't like the use, and they use design review board to kind of worm their way in. And so I would like to have it on the record, as I say, and Mr. Pullman likes this, that we're probably going to need a budget consideration for more staff, because where there is only 1.5 staff for this, and if we move all of these potential projects to staff, it will become as much of a crawl as going through a board. So I hope that council will.
You only have a certain amount of hours in the day, right?
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
And I don't know that this would even fall under Mr. Pullman's work. I hope that council will realize that the efficiency is going to be in generating some staff to help.
Good point. So there's a motion by Ms. Jacobs, second by Ms. Joyce. Any other questions or comments? All in favor of the motion, signify by saying aye. Anyone in opposition? That's 6 in favor, none opposed. Thank you, and this is very important, so thank you all. Yes, ma'am.
Has any of this TIF that came about, not terribly long ago, how many people have actually utilized the TIF on Sam Rittenberg? That's what
Big zero.
So at this point, we've still been racking up the increment itself. We have had several parcels that have redeveloped within it, but they are just a handful. We're hoping that between Ashley Landing and seeing the investment that is going to be injected there, other people will see further down the road that they can redevelop these parcels, and that's where we really get the ball rolling faster.
I keep an eye on seeing what has changed and what has really,
This is the reason
utilized the
This
TIF.
is why we're moving so fast with Ashley Landing, because we only have
4 years, I know. Okay, well, that was my question. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Under, now the zonings, Mr. Morgan, I guess we'll take one separately and then the other three together.
Okay,
Is that correct?
sure.
Okay, number one is 620 Blitz Ridge Road, EMS 3500500026, District 7.15 acres. West RO, zone DuPont, Wapton, overlay in Charleston County.
And so this is obviously a new annexation, and they are interested in the allowances of the DuPont overlay, DUWAP overlay, excuse me. And we've determined that RO would be appropriate in this location. Just an image of the structure. It is a residential structure, which of course can stay as residential under the RO, but it also could have the office use as well. Our suburban land use is in line with RO, so it makes sense from a planning standpoint.
Okay, great. Would anyone like to be heard on this? Not? Commission
I'll
members?
make a motion to approve.
Ms. Harris, is that Ms. Harris?
Mhm.
Ms. Harrison makes a motion to
I'll second.
approve. Second by Ms. Lampsis, all in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Anyone in opposition? 6 in favor, not opposed. So we'll take 2, 3, and 4 together. 2 is 25 Oaks Drive. Yes, TMS number 31005000, excuse me, 23.33 acres, and it's R4 in Charleston County. It's gonna go to R1, City of Charleston. The next one is number 3 is 2540 Birkenhead Drive, TMS number 30913000113, District 2, 0.30 acres, again, the same zoning, requesting SR1. Number 4 is 162 Stoner Drive, James Island, TMS number 34305000062, Council District 11.24 acres. Mr. Morgan.
And just an interesting side note, the 162 Stono Drive is the last annexation on Stono Drive. Now, everything on Stono Drive will be in the city, and that means they can utilize our undergrounding program and start to get the power lines undergrounded over there where they've got all
That
those.
shared cost system.
Yes, it's a shared thing with Dominion and
Yeah.
the city, not Dominion, well, yes, it is Dominion.
Dominion.
Not necessarily Dominion, and the city, and so it's
And them as well. I think they have
advance here.
third, they have third person. The person as well contributes, correct?
I bet they are very,
It's the last piece on Stono Drive to come in,
Stono Drive.
yeah,
So
so.
I only got, now we got a few more streets for you to finish.
So
up.
when they-
Finish.
so when they move, but that's a cost sharing between the city and
Dominion,
and
yeah.
Dominion
Three party, it's
Yeah.
also the citizen.
And the citizens pay a little bit more on their bills too, in that little
for
area.
a little bit of time. But
Because
that's
the lines
actually,
are-
that's very good, because when tree falls, it storms,
You still got power.
exactly.
Want that partnership and
Yeah.
Windermere
So,
works
Mr.
down.
Anyone else, anything else on these three?
No,
Does
and you stated everything about, they're all R4 in the county, and they're doing this as our main city.
anyone like to be heard on item 2, 3, or 4? If not, Councilman, Commission members, is there a motion?
Make a motion to approve.
Mr.
I'll
Jackson,
second.
Mr. Cruzman,
Never says.
number 2, 3, and 4, second by Ms. Harrison. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
No opposition. None, so that's 6 in favor, none opposed, right? It's been a pretty quick meeting. We have a couple of comments. Ms. Warren, you have anything else you want to add or?
We do want to remind everybody about the reception for our boards and commissions. It's coming up on, it's October 29th. So I hope you all can attend. It's going to be at the Tech Center on their rooftop area. that
I've
has
never been there. It's a
beautiful
nice
views.
place, huh?
It's really
Yeah.
nice.
So I think everybody will be impressed with that. It's going to have some catered food and a bar and all those kind of things.
Any
It's
other
the least we
updates?
can do for all y'all's great service.
Any other updates?
Well, I thought we were gonna get paid at some point.
Do we-
Trying to get that in the city, but if not, is there a motion to adjourn?
Yes.
So moved, so we'll adjourn. Can you tell me when we're off the record? I had a couple of comments.